Hello everybody, Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. I've got a Facebook post today I think you're going to find real interesting and or a video, and it started with this Facebook post right here that I posted 8 hours ago. It says Heather O'Donnell said that Donnie Cobb told her he shot a guy in Midland, Texas. Did he shoot me, or was this an unsolved murder here? Okay, and I post that so a lot of people see it, and it's not Buddy said, Buddy said, she said. I got the print screen showing what Heather O'Donnell said, So there's Heather O'Donnell right there. And he tried to kill me with drugs. She was talking about Donnie. And I said, I believe you. I got away, went straight to the hospital. See, she was telling me about a home over in Hobbs, New Mexico on Sunset Circle where people were getting in the attic. Okay, that home was built by the Callaways. Okay, I'll talk about that. Another home over in Hobbs. Anyway, she said his name was Donnie Cobb. I don't know him. And then I looked up this guy, just did a quick search on Facebook. I said, is this the guy, and it was the guy or whatever. And she says, I think this is a sex trafficking ring. Well, I think it's a sex trafficking ring too, slash murder, extortion, bribery, everything else. It's a crime ring, but I think, human trafficking. And then, but here also she said, when Donnie was drunk, he and his friend shot a guy. And I wrote back, I said, in Hobbs? Because she's in Hobbs, New Mexico, my hometown. And she writes back, goes, no, Midland. And I'm going, Midland? Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if Donnie, shot me. And it was he and his friend. And I don't know who his friend is either, I've reported that to law enforcement because, I think it may be an unsolved murder, or maybe that's the guy under my home that shot me. I think it's really important, especially since there's a connection to somebody in the attic, right? And, I was reporting people in the attic when I was ambushed and shot in my home. Now, homeowners all over the country are documented reporting people in the attic. I think I had 3 new homes this week I was told about people being reported in the attic. One of them, this week, the woman here in Midland went to the police department, and I was told that they called her crazy. And that's the modus operandi for covering up these crimes that's widespread racketeering, burglary, theft, and murder, okay? I don't believe that the police are so stupid that they think that woman's crazy. I think they're dirty. I think they're involved in it. Maybe they're taking bribes, whatever. I just don't believe that they're that dumb. They got all these people in Midland, in Odessa, all over the country reporting people in the attic. They got the $1 million underground homes, having oil parties. They don't, they're just destroying the lives of innocent crime victims with this slander and lies to cover up these crimes. And I think it's very profitable because it is human trafficking, probably sex trafficking. Anyways, here I'm going to go on and I put a link here to a recent video. Hobbs' home was rigged, okay? And one thing about that was, that was my Hobbs home, and another Hobbs home over there where they reported people in the attic was that same person, Heather O'Donnell. And then the link is that that I think them homes there in Sunset were built by the Callaways, and my home I lived in where I believe it was rigged in Hobbs was built by the Callaways, which was my first in-laws, and they also built the one next to it. Okay, that's a whole nother story, but let's move it on. I went ahead and wrote, and I said, if it wasn't Donnie that shot me from under my home, then it was somebody else. That dangerous criminal is still free, okay? The one thing we know for a fact is that I didn't shoot myself. Multiple proofs show I didn't shoot myself. So we know somebody loaded their gun, went from their home to my home, and pointed it at me and shot me by surprise, listened to me scream for help. Actually, they cut my phone lines first. This was premeditated, cold-blooded, capital attempted murder. These are killers, is what this is, I mean, it wasn't an accident. They didn't accidentally break into home, accidentally shoot a homeowner by surprise. This was on purpose. These are killers, right? This is premeditated. What I'm showing you, this was my security camera when I'm crawling out minutes, after I shot. The reason I crawled out because my phone lines were cut, timestamp 10:42. And the print screen on top of a guy that says, I used to live in your house. Me and my brother used to go in the tunnels under it when we was kids. Ricky Ronaldo said that. One of the many people documented saying tunnels, underground homes are here. Okay. Anyway, here's what the main part of this video is about. Michael Hornsberger, he writes on here and he says, brother, sorry about the language, but this is some fucked up shit. Let's knock a hole in your floor, and after that, I just need my 45 and a flashlight. Okay. Well, I'm gonna read to you my reply to that. Okay, I said, Michael, either you're suggesting to get into a gunfight with a large group of corrupt police, which would be fatal, or you don't understand how big this is. It's not something where you knock a hole in the floor with a flashlight and a gun. Multiple people are documented saying that $1 million underground homes are here, said to have been put in for the Vice President of the United States in the 80s. It's said to be 4 3-bedroom homes buried at least 25 foot deep, which had a budget of $7.35 million in 1987. After I was ambushed and shot, 11 police were caught on camera covering up this capital attempted murder, which took 6 years and a $2,000 reward to get identified. Evidence was found in 2019 showing that 5 police officers, Davis, Dickey, Chatwell, Angel, and Hale, came into my home from a now removed trapdoor from under my home. These are the dirtiest cops on the planet. Exposing these crime centers is the confirmation that they were hosting the parties for the Permian Basin International Oil Show, where a young girl was murdered at in 2010, and also makes it clear that the previous owner of my home was murdered here the week before the 2008 oil show started. Obviously, some very powerful people are willing to murder to keep that secret. So how many corrupt police do you think you could shoot before they kill you and cover it up with the help of our corrupt press? Okay, and I'll put the link of 4 different videos there to back up what I said, so it's not just my word against, his word or anybody else's word. Proof of tunnels and underground homes. Multiple people are documented. You can see one on Google Maps in my backyard. Proof that I wasn't shot with my gun. Multiple proofs. Absolute, undeniable. Proof of many other homeowners reporting people in the attic. As I said a minute ago, I've got documented almost 50 other homeowners, and that's the tip of the iceberg. This is going on all over the country. Widespread racketeering, organized crime, significant police corruption. And then the last one, the secret police finally identified. It was the first time in the history of America where a crime victim offered a reward to identify police, not a news story in the nation. And so I put a link to, the videos. There's one on proof of underground homes. Okay. My next comment, I said, this is who you plan on getting a gunfight with. And that's like, let me get my flashlight and a 45, we'll take care of this. That'll be done. No, that ain't how it's going to be done. That doesn't work. That's who's backing it up right here. These are the dirty cops that were caught on camera. Took me 6 years, a $2,000 reward to get identified. They're caught tampering with evidence, lying on the police report. One of them could have been the one that tried to murder me, but what we do know is they covered up this premeditated home invasion, capital attempted murder, and they're my top suspects for murdering the little girl at the oil show party and murdering the guy that lived here before me, and I've called their names out many times. Rosa Rodriguez, April Chandler, Tony Dickey. He was inside my home minutes after I crawled out, and he wasn't seen arriving on the camera. He come from under my home. Greg Chatwell, Greg Nelson, Marty Barrett, Chad Simpson. Chad Simpson's dead. He's the one that killed his wife and killed himself. Mike Naylor, he's dead too, right? He's a sheriff deputy, second one to show up right here on camera. That's who Mike Naylor is. Mark Gilliam, Michael Glick, and John Woodward. He was the first one to show up, and he's a sheriff from a whole different county. Showed up minutes after I was ambushed and shot. That's why you don't try to go get in a gunfight with these police. This ain't just a regular everyday burglar story. They are backed up by a secret police murder gang. I'm showing you who they are. I've shown the evidence. And so here we go. Here's Michael's reply. Brother, don't get mad, but how else are you going to come full circle? I'm being honest. You have corrupt law enforcement everywhere. You know the problems at my mom's. I made a huge breakthrough by catching one of those bastards. I brought him in the house one afternoon because I installed padlocks in places where they were entering. Seemed like a band-aid on a gunshot wound, but I thought, what the hell? I had locked a dude in and I didn't know it. I left and came back, and there he was, like a scared chicken. I found out lots of information before calling the law. Just saying, sometimes when you get down to it, a small show of force isn't so bad. I'm sorry for pissing you off, but it did work for me. Also, it doesn't matter what kind of training these folks have. People change when you point a gun at them, and they know that it's either them or you. Suddenly, loyalty isn't really a factor at that point. That was his reply to me. Very interesting, right? Because, that's what he's talking about, is people breaking into his attic. That's what I was saying. I already knew that, and I'm going to show you here in a minute. Okay, and then he wrote again. He says, "I can outgun these folks any day." So basically, he's saying he can outgun them 11 corrupt police. I'm going, no, you can't, man. I mean, you know, I guarantee you, they're going to kill you. They're going to cover it up. They're the same thing they did at my house. They're going to tamper with evidence. They're going to call you crazy. You know, they're going to lie in the police report. One of them's going to lie. The other one's going to swear to it, and then they're going to tell the press to lie for them. And you know, and then it's just done deal, and you're dead. That's what's going to happen. You shoot one, they got 100 more coming. You shoot 100, they got 1,000 more coming. You don't want to get into a gunfight with corrupt police. And you know, so anyway, here was my reply. I said, I can't speak for your home or your situation, but I know what is going on here. These are the facts of the case. After reporting multiple burglaries to my home to the police, I trapped a burglar in my bathroom, and I had a gun that night. That was when they cut my phone lines and somebody under my home shot me by surprise. And that's what I'm trying to tell him. I've already done that. I've played the tough guy, got a gun, trapped them. That didn't work. They tried to murder me, and that's when we found out they have a dozen dirty cops helping them break into homes and murder innocent people that are reporting crimes to them. 19 minutes after I crawled out to survive this premeditated, capital attempted murder, which left me crippled for life, the first two former secret police were seen arriving at my home without being dispatched. 4 minutes later, MPD Lieutenant Dickey was inside my home, and he wasn't seen arriving on the security cameras. In fact, there was 5 of the 11 police that were at my home and not seen arriving. That is how it's known the police were under my home when somebody under my home had tried to murder me. Maybe the shooter was one of these corrupt police, or maybe the shooter was Donnie Cobb, who Heather O'Donnell said shot somebody in Midland. But what I know is this must be solved by real police, as the only ones that can stop a dirty cop with a gun is a good cop with one. And then I put a link to a video telling that story about trapping that burglar. I've already tried that. Had a gun, have every right to protect my life and property. What I didn't know is they've got a dozen dirty cops helping them break into homes and murder people. You try to stop the crimes, they're going to kill you and cut you up into pieces. That's what's going to happen. Michael says, I believe in this is me really guessing, but they made where shot killer. I don't understand this. You know, I didn't get that. But either way, we former operators call it that. You had no chance. What scared them was you lived. Now they torment you and use propaganda to disconnect you from your family and friends. I've been through that bullshit and it sucks, okay? So that's what he's talking. And I replied and I said, they're trying to terrorize me into selling my home, as they know this home will prove the underground homes that were put in for the Bushes and are connected with the oil show parties and multiple murders. It's even bigger than that, as I reported people in my attic when I was shot, and now I've documented almost 50 other homeowners reporting people in the attic across the country, with one of them being your home. This is nationwide racketeering and organized crime with significant public corruption. On July 2nd, 2019, I met Homeland Security at the Home Depot store, and I showed them where I believed a tunnel was located that was used for the oil show party murders, and 2 weeks later, the ground was dug up and concrete was poured. I got this on video. 2 weeks later, the U.S. Congressman Mike Conaway announces his retirement. Mike Conaway from Midland. And come to find out, his late brother-in-law, John Lejeune, used to live across the street from my home. 3 months after I got that video of them pouring concrete, U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security resigned, and 6 days later, U.S. Secretary of Energy Rick Perry, former governor of Texas, resigned. Many people believe this was because they had been caught trying to cover up these capital murders for oil companies involved in underground parties. This is much bigger than you can imagine, and it's not going to be solved by a crippled crime victim playing Rambo and a flashlight in your 45. That's the point that I'm making. And then here's the picture I got of them pouring concrete. That's from a video. I mean, there's the concrete coming out of the truck. I was back there behind Home Depot. My home's right here on the other side 2 weeks before this, and I was showing Homeland Security where I believe the human trafficking murder tunnel is. I'll show you on this picture. This is old Google Earth picture. You could see where the tunnel was coming directly to my house right here. I believe that's where the people also part. And in my backyard, you can see where one of the $4 million underground homes is that was put in for George H.W. Bush in the 80s. And then here's this outside friend, Elizabeth, maybe he can help you, my friend, praying for you. And then I wrote back, he isn't law enforcement. And she's talking about Michael. I'm going, no, he's not law enforcement. This needs law enforcement. We need and as I said earlier, the only thing that's going to stop a dirty cop with a gun is a good cop one. And it's not one dirty cop, it's a whole bunch of them. It's a dozen dirty cops, And then she says, yep. And then I wrote back and I said, this is capital attempted murder case. And it is, because I have proof I would shot my gun, and believed to be connected with multiple capital murders. The murder of the little girl, the murder of the previous homeowner. The guy told me 4 people had been murdered, died in my house. And I said, that's just why we must somehow find some law enforcement that isn't corrupt. And that has been the problem. And of course, the bigger problem is the press is assisting them with the crimes, I went back and I got some of the old messages from me and Michael, and he's a nice guy, but I want to show you what he wrote me here back in 2017. He said, to all of you, the same thing is happening to me as well. The other day, I almost shot someone in my attic. I stopped myself. I live in a very small town, and this shit is real. The next time there's somebody in my attic, I'll blow their legs out from under them, make the papers, and post it on Facebook if that'll get y'all paying attention. And then I wrote, this is Snyder, Texas, or it's close to Snyder. It might be Hermley. Okay. And I said, I had people all over the country telling me this is going on. I think it's human traffickers. And he says, I know, people need to chill. So that was Michael's comment one day on my Facebook. And I want to show you this one here. This is a private message. He says, buddy, I'm moving away because of very similar family stuff and the people breaking into my mom's house. I went back to school and I find a new life for myself. It's sad things happen like this. I guess I'm walking away from the problem, but honestly, I've had it. And I said, I wish you the best of luck, and each of us must do what we feel is right. I've had many people suggest that I move away and try to hide for the rest of my life, but I don't believe that is the answer for me. Hopefully my choice to stay inside my home will lead to the arrest of the killers who are breaking into this home, your mom's home, and the many other homes that are rigged for burglary, theft, and murder. Okay. And here's my list that, this is the almost 50 is 40 some odd. I got 3 more this week. And I went back and looked, and I didn't even have Michael's, home on this list. There's so many I forget about them, but there's another one from Michael over, that needs to be added to the 50 or whatever, and that's the tip of the iceberg. There's probably 5,000 homes across the nation, if not more. And then just a side story is over here. He told me this, and this really not even connected, but it was a home here in Midland where they found a bone in the backyard on Stanlin Street, I think's what it was. And I sent this over to law enforcement, but I don't know if it ever got investigated. It emailed to Texas Rangers right here. I'll show you. Ranger Strain. This is a conversation I had with Michael Hornsberger. The address is 2211 Stanlin, and his mom was a nurse, and they found a bone in the backyard. They believe a human bone that somebody was buried in the backyard of that home. And so anyway, I'm gonna close that out. I thought you'd find that interesting, and maybe name this Gunfight with the Police. And I want to make it real clear that I'm not a supporter of a gunfight with the police. Actually, I'm looking for real, legitimate police to stop these corrupt police that were caught, tamper with evidence, lying on police reports to cover up the capital murder attempt on life. And I believe they're connected to all these other crimes. This is Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.